Hi, I'm Rory Larson, the designer and chief engineer of the Maker Mask. I'd like to thank the 3D printing and small batch production communities for all their help in the production of this mask. This video is a full assembly guide and tutorial on how to set up and make the mask at home. This is a fairly sophisticated setup and does require extensive knowledge of settings to have a successful print. So it is marketed more towards small batch production facilities at the moment, but we are working on a broader range of files to make it more available for all sorts of printers. We're working around the clock for this, and stay tuned for the updates. Let's get started.
Perfect.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is put on the weather stripping around the mouthpiece. I like to start at the very bottom of the crest, right here in the center. And I just push it in and kind of work my way around this groove. And when I get to the nose bridge, I like to push a little bit on the rubber, and that kind of eliminates some of the creases around the nose. But you will get a crease right there. And when you get towards the end, you're going to want to overshoot it by about 4 millimeters. And so I just bring it right up to the gap and use a pair of scissors. And I cut just about 3 to 4 millimeters past. That's about a quarter inch, a little less than that. And then I kind of push it back in and tuck in the seam at the very end by squeezing one of the tubes, and it's hollow in the center, so you're going to tuck it into each other and try to eliminate any air gap. There we go. So just inspect it, make sure it's pushed in. Okay. Now we're going to do the front valve. So you're going to want to probably print the valves on a glass bed so you get a nice flat finish on one side. And then you're going to want to clean these if you're using any kind of bed adhesive, because it will keep, the bed adhesive will keep the valve from opening and closing freely. So next you're going to take the retention ring, the valve cover, and pop it in. And you're going to want to line up that triangle at the top and then click it down. And I like to do this face down on a table and to snap it into place. Sometimes you might use an object to help you put that force down. And it might shift the valve out of place, but just realign the triangle at the top. And sometimes, particularly if you're using a light colored material, you'll be able to see when it's centered. Then I just like to use a little bit of liquid glue, just a dab of super glue right at the top. That's going to make sure that it doesn't shift around too much. Very little is needed. Okay. Then we're going to install this into the front of the mouthpiece. So this is your outward going valve, and you're going to want to take the retention ring, and this one just is pushed down. It's a little awkward, but I like to start from the very bottom and push the top into place. If you'd like, you can use the back of a screwdriver or something to help you apply force. And you just want to get in the corners. There we go. And once you see all the teeth are dug in, there we go. So now we want to test the valve. I sometimes use the back of a pencil or something, but just make sure that it's opening and closing freely. Okay, so next we are going to install the side filters and valves. These are a little bit tighter fit, so we don't have room for a retention ring, but we're going to glue on the valve. So the valve is going to have a flat side that's printed on the printer bed and a coarser side, and we're going to want the flat side or the smooth side facing down. But first we want to make a nice little area for adhesive. So I use a razor blade or sandpaper, and I just kind of scrape the surface, scoring it to make it just glue a little nicer. I'm going to do this to both at the same time. Just scraping the surface. And we're going to do the same thing to just the very top of the smooth side of the valve. And second valve, coarse side, smooth. Just a reminder, these two will need to be cleaned of any adhesive if you used on the printer bed. So next you're going to put just about less than a drop, just half a drop of glue right at the top of the triangle, right at the teardrop. And I'm going to lay it on and keep it centered. I usually just keep it centered with one hand and just push down. Okay, we'll do the second one while that one dries, and we'll test those in a second. So just a half a drop right there. Smooth side down, and hold that in place for just a second. Next, you're going to test these valves, and these ones I like to kind of just test them for a little bit and kind of give it a little bit. These ones like to be a little bit stiffer than the front valve since they're smaller, and I just bend it until I just start seeing a little bit of air gap in between. So that's basically the moment where the valve wants to shut close when there's positive pressure and open when there's negative pressure. And just kind of pre-stretch these. If you have any trouble with breathing in the mask, sometimes these are just a little bit too tight. You just want to kind of work it in a little bit. There we go, that looks about right. You can do the same one to this, just poking with a stick. It can be pencil. It's pretty flexy. Cool. So we have the two side valves. We're going to, with the top of the triangle up, we're going to insert them into the side of the mask. And then we have our filter tray. And we have these little twist-on rings, and there's a little braille dot at the very top. And what you're going to want to do is line that up with the top of the triangle and twist it on, just like that. We're going to do that to the other side. Oh, one thing, so an optional step that you might consider is putting a bead of hot glue around this. So that will make sure that there's an airtight seal. It is fairly airtight the way it's layered, but a little bit of hot glue will help. So I just do a very thin bead around. And fairly quickly I put this on because it is a little sensitive to changes in the Z height, this tension ring. There we go. So that's on there, and put in the side valve. Okay, and we're going to take our filter cover, our glue. Okay, just a bead around, there we go. And insert our tray and our twist ring, braille side top up, and twist that on, just like that. Okay, then we have our filter offsets. We're going to pop those in and determine our tolerances. You might have to kind of push it in, but those should be pretty tight. And then we're going to have our filter covers in just a second, but I'll show you the full assembly first. And so these are your spring that's going to keep down the filter. And this is your filter cover. And that just snaps into place. There we go. And spring. Cover. And we'll come back and insert whatever the filter material. Now, the filter material is preferably something HEPA rated, active carbon, and fairly small pore size, but we're working on a list of materials that will extend, it will say which materials block what to what rating. Next thing we're going to do is want to heat bend some of these parts. So I like to practice sometimes on these small little straps. These are really fast to print, and what you're going to want to do is also have a boil of water. This is optional. You can always just wait for it to cool, but I like to dip them in, and I often do bunches of these at a time. So I'm going to use my blowtorch just because, but you can use a heat gun or anything that really, even a lighter, but discolors the plastic slightly. So I just give it a little bit of a wipe with some heat, and then I bend it to make an arc, and I just about a millimeter gap there, and I make this strap, and then I just dunk it in some water, and it cools. So you really don't need much heat. You're only talking about around 100 degrees Celsius or less to start the bend. And keep that dry. And then you're going to do the same thing. And you're going to want to curl towards the teeth. So there's going to be a smooth side, and there's going to be some detail on this side. And you're going to want to bend it towards the teeth. So just a little bit of heat. And then curl that into position. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. And this is going to go on the back of the, so you're going to want a little bit of a gap so this can clip in and out on the back strap. So just give it 1 or 2 or 3 seconds and bend it. There we go. Got it. I'm going to leave this one a little bit more open. Dunk it. Okay. This one is good to go. This one's a little bit more complicated, so that's why I held it to the very end, so you get a little bit of practice. And you're going to want to, same thing, flat side down and bend towards the teeth. So, a little bit of heat there. Bring that into a curl. That's a little tight. And dunk it. Okay, so these are going to go at the very bottom of the mask, and it's going to come towards your neck. So you want to give a little bit of contour to your neck, but what I do is kind of just, I heat up this point and this point until they start to sag a little bit. And then I kind of, with my fingers, make kind of the contour of a chin. And that's going to go below, around your neck. And then I just dunk it. There we go. And this is going to clip on to the very bottom. So let me move this. And, okay. So this one, these are very flexy. They're not going to break. So just push it in and slide it into position. Same thing with these. You're just going to kind of pull on this, slip it into place. If you want, you can always use like something pointy and pop it in. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is prepare our strapping material. So I cut about 18 inches, and you can always trim this up. But we are having trouble getting 1/2 inch, and so we have this 1 inch strip. And what we're going to do is just cut it in half. And it's pretty easy since the elastic kind of makes this corduroy pattern. So we just pick down the middle and start cutting. And you're looking for about 1/2 inch. And I am creating files for a wider variety of thicknesses. Okay, and I'm going to keep one of the pieces and cut the other one in half. And that is going to be, the one you cut in half is going to be for your back of your head strap, while the long one's going to be the one that goes up and over the top. So. Okay, so I sometimes like to just singe the edges. Okay. Okay, cool. And when you insert these in, let's cut this one in half. You're going to want to go again from the two side in, and that's going to be just a little bit easier, as well as we'll make it a little bit, and you'll see you want the flat side facing out, because the teeth, it's easy to pull in one direction but not the other. Okay, so I'll show you on this guy. So starting with the teeth there, I just like to push it in, and sometimes a thin flat object. There is a spatula, but a screwdriver, use a pencil. Okay, and you can see it's easy to pull in one direction, but then hard to pull against the other direction. So that's why it's easy to tighten on the go. And you can always push in and stretch it out. Okay, so the top ones are going to go to the back, sorry, the front, and the bottom, and I'm just going to push it in. There we go. And that way you have flat side, pull, and another flat side. And that is the right orientation for the strap. And we're going to push it in. No real science to it. There we go. There. And now we're going to put it in flat side up, flat side up. Oop. Push. Okay, that's going to be the bottom strap, which flips behind your head. This is going to be the top one. And there we go. Got a little fraying there, but and then on the back side. And make sure that there's no twists in the ribbon, just a little uncomfortable after a while. Okay. Okay, so that goes around the back of your head, and this will clip in the back. There we go. So now we're going to work on the filters. So you're just going to pop these off, and you're going to have to change out your filters fairly often. You should change out pretty much every day, and we're working with a few other small batch production facilities on different ones, and we're determining their length of use still. But, so what I like to do is use this, it's called the filter offset, but as a template. And so we're going to use, in this case, HEPA vacuum bags. They are great for small materials, dust, and they also have a good moisture rating. So we're going to cut this just as a template. And you might consider lining up the very edge with a seam, so it keeps the multiple layers from falling apart on you. So, so you can see you're going to get two pieces at the same time. So we're going to do this on the edge, and just trace it with a pair of scissors. might consider doing multiples because you will be changing these out. And, okay. And open this up and cut this in half. One seam. Okay. And this is a little different than my last one. There we go. There's one and the second one. Okay. And doesn't have to be perfect. Now you're just going to insert the offset again. Insert the filter material. Your spring compresses. Now this is optional. Determine on the thickness of your filter. This is a fairly thin filter, so we don't want it jiggling around and opening up to the air. So we're gonna use it, but you can also heat gun it to lower it if you want to change the offset. You could slice the file and print a smaller one, or if you have a very thick material like active carbon oftentimes is, you may not use it at all and just use the filter cover to compress it. And so we're just gonna work our way around the perimeter and pop it in. Okay, let's open up this one, put the spring out, and insert our filter material, spring, and the cover. Again, working around, pushing the corners. There we go. And now you have your first maker mask. And also this rim is semi-contortable if you dip it in hot water. So you can take a bowl of hot water and it's about up to basically the top of this contour right here. Put it into hot water and for about 4 minutes. Once it's becomes slightly pliable, you're going to want to let it cool a little bit and then put it against your face, and it'll help contour to your specific profile if this is not the perfect airtight fit. Okay, keep calm and print on. Thank you. Okay, I hope this helped, and thanks again for watching. Stay tuned and check out our forum and our Q&A section on our site. Happy printing, keep calm, and print on.